Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. This is your host, Matt Heath. How's everybody doing? What's new? Everything good? I had Rob Santos on the show today, and my God, we had an amazing conversation. One of the original reasons I wanted to have him on the show is because he was the only person making Facebook posts at the time of the death of a good friend of ours, and we don't even mention it in our interview. We just talked about so many things. I don't think we had time to get to it, but I want to dedicate this episode to a comic that has passed on. Someone who was, just I feel like a flower in the cement patch that is Connecticut comedy. Noelle Gray. Noelle Gray. She was a beautiful, kind-hearted woman. And I think me and Santos, Rob Santos, who I had on the show today, would both be very happy to dedicate this episode to her. She passed away from the cancer, and I wish I could have had her on the show at one point. We had so many good times together at Joker's Wild down in New Haven and the Hartford Funny Bone. I was just looking at a Facebook message that I had with her just because I wanted to look at her Facebook page for a minute before I started talking about her. And the last thing she ever said to me on Facebook was years ago, and it just says, "I owe you a drink." And, well, I think I'm the one that owes you a drink, Noelle. I do. I think everyone in the scene probably owes you a drink. Pour one out for Noelle when you listen to this podcast. It's been maybe a little over a month now since she's passed. Well, a little over 2 months since she's passed. She passed in February. And I remember the crazy thing is the day she passed, the Facebook memory popped up of years back in the day. She was on a Valentine's Day show down in Joker's Wild, and she was just such an inspiration, and that's why I want to dedicate this episode to her. Moving on. You know what? Let's just get into my interview I had with Rob Santos. It was awesome. I think we hit on subjects that I couldn't hit on with any other comic in this room, just because Rob, the way he speaks, he keeps it real right from the very beginning. He hits the ground running. Like we were talking as soon as he walked in the room. I'm like, man, I gotta hit the record button first. Let's rap. Let's do this. And I don't even need to say something like that to Rob. Rob is a seasoned comic, and let's just do it. This is my interview with Rob Santos. We're gonna start right now, yeah.
So you have like music and shit that you normally through all this? I'm just interested in people doing their. I haven't done my podcast in ages,
you do a podcast, but it's kind of on hiatus.
Yeah, you know why? I really don't know what hell happened. Because my podcast is called Trees Falling in the Woods. So I gotta fix up my RSS feed and all that shit and get it back going again. But
what's it called again?
Trees Falling in the Woods.
Trees Falling in the Woods. His podcast is Trees Falling in the Woods, and this is my guest, Rob Santos, everybody.
Was good.
We're here in the studio, the 1000 Comic Studio.
I like
and
that.
We're doing an evening podcast. This is the first time I've ever done one this late. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I usually do them at like noonish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But most comics, how many, well, I was not most of them, but some of us, you know what I mean, I have jobs.
Yeah.
You know,
day jobs.
Day
But
jobs.
I typically do them on Sundays, though. It's like, I wanted you on the podcast for a while now, and it's like, you always seem to be working on Sundays, so I thought I'd give you, like, let's do it on a Monday.
Dude,
you know?
I mean, I wish, you know, because where I work, they don't even like talking about this stuff out. Like, so where I work retail.
Right.
I work in a fucking mall.
What store do you work at?
So what you have, the equipment that you have
Best
is,
Buy.
No, I wish. No, I call it the fruit stand or whatever people want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I work at the Apple store. I'm not gonna say nothing bad about it, but I work at the Apple store, and they're very selective and secretive about their shit. But
Can I say something bad about it?
You do whatever the hell you want.
You know, I just don't get. I feel like after Steve Jobs died, it's like the quality of Apple products have gone down.
It's funny, man. I will say this, being real. You can only reinvent the wheel so many times.
Right.
And if you look at Samsung, all right, so all I see is their new S10. It's like, hey, do you want to deplete my battery real quick by you charging your phone on top of my phone and just depleting the whole battery out?
Oh my god, the battery life on these phones is supposed to be so nice and everything, and it's like the battery life on them sucks. You know, it's something, Rob, I use the cheapest smartphone they make, the one they get at Walmart, and I use Straight Talk for a service.
Fuck it.
Cheap smartphone, but you know something? I'm happy. My phone lasts all day long.
Hell yeah.
My girl, on the other hand, she got like one of those like $800 phones that you're still paying on. Her phone's always friggin' dead. Yeah, like it's always dying.
It's the worst. I tell you what, man. I personally don't like them. Not like Apple or like
hers isn't Apple though. Hers is a Samsung.
I'm not a fan of the smartphone too much. I use it because look, even while I'm talking to you now, right? I've got buzzed a handful of times because I have to be in communication. So that means between my family, between stand up. Because we're on the go a lot.
You're pretty high tech the way you do things, though. I just checked out your Facebook page today, and I saw this video you posted of your business cards.
Yeah.
And it's the guys, whoever's listening out there, go to Rob Santos' Facebook page and watch this video.
Or you can go to my Instagram. It's MUSE324.
All right, hit us up as Instagram, and it's this video of his business cards, and it's like you can scan the business card, and it takes you to like your social media.
Yeah, it takes me straight to my website.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I appreciate look, that technology's been around for a while, but I forgot about it. So I happen to this is why I always say, be cool to everyone you meet, man. Show love to everyone, no matter what. So there's one guy I had met at a Wells Fargo, but he saw me before. Right. At an event out here in Hartford, and he's like, "Oh, yo, you were cool, you were nice, yo, appreciate you." He's like, "Yo, you want to listen to my music?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Mm-hmm. Like, you got your card, so he handed me his card, but it was like just a square. All it was a square,
right?
And he turned and he gave it to me. He's like, "Yo, let me see your phone." So I'm like, "All right, bet." So he took my phone, scanned it on the camera, and then boom, it went straight to where all his site was for all his music. And I was like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here!" And when he did that, I was like, yeah, okay, so I put that in my memory bank because I was thinking about making a business card.
Right.
So I got that off somebody else, and that technology, that's been around for a while. It's just that you don't see a lot of it. So I'm just trying to innovate and do things differently because, the comedy community, it's only, how many of us have business cards out here?
A lot of people, I had business cards for a while until it's like I want to wait until I could figure out something I could do. Clearly, you found something you could do with business cards, and it's like, it actually brought back a memory of something I wanted to do, and I think for this podcast it'd be great. I want to do business cards, but not really like business cards. Mm-hmm. Make them like bookmarks.
Yeah.
So the books that I sell, because I have my own book.
Nice.
I I want to have them like bookmarks, but also that'd be cool if they were like they could link them to my podcast, whatever. You know what I mean?
Do it, man. Yo, do it up. My thing is, I do the things that I do on social media to just show people that one. Obviously, I'm trying to, pick myself up, but also too, just like let people know, like, oh, we're out here, we're doing stuff, and innovate and inspire,
Right.
And hopefully someone like yourself just takes that and runs with it, and that to me is what it's all about, especially in a small community of comedians that Connecticut is. You want to push the envelope for the next person because all that does is bring up the rest of the group.
Right.
So I'm glad. I appreciate you taking a look, man. I'm just trying to do the best I can, man. I'm working on a lot of solid things now, and I got this big thing coming up in July that I'm really trying to get some dates squared down. So I'm really trying to piece this Hartford comedy / music fest.
All right.
Yeah, man. I do a show called Rob Speakeasy where I perform in front of a live band as I'm doing my jokes.
Okay.
And then I bring on like 3 or 4 comedians, and then I bring on the musical acts, and then I'm bantering with the other musical acts as I go along. I got a house band. It's just...
That sounds amazing.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. The good thing about it is just, selling the vibe, man. And that to me is what I'm trying to do. Like, you writing a book is different. Not many guys out here writing a book like that, you know? So what can we do to change it up? I see so many things take place now where it's just like comedy show after comedy show, which is cool. You don't see too many, but you see more open mics. So it's like, what can we do to up the ante a little bit? And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, you want to give the people a real show. I mean, it's like you can only do the open mic thing for so long until it's like you got to grow. You got to like, And how many of these like Rob Speakeasy shows you've done so far?
I've done 4.
Yeah,
and I spread them out,
and they've all kind of been been successful.
They've all been great because for me, I'm not excuse me, I'm not selling you comedy.
Right.
I'm not selling you music. I'm selling you a vibe.
Right.
So when you come in, like, you watch wrestling, right?
Right.
As a kid, do you still watch it now?
Well, I don't really watch it now, but I watched it as a kid.
Same here. But when that glass broke,
right,
you knew it was coming.
Right.
When you heard "If You Smell," you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You knew you was gonna get that particular person's whole personality, and you were gonna ride with it for however long they were in a match or however long their promo was, and you were riding with it. You were getting an experience.
I like the sound of it. Can I get on one of these shows?
Yo, listen. Listen. Once I get it going, like I'm trying. Like, what? Listen. I'm not gonna. I'm not saying this 'cause I'm on your podcast because I'm gonna. When I get this comedy / music fest going on, I'll definitely want to put you on. I'll find a way to keep to put you in. I'm trying to do this for Hartford by Hartford, and the thing is, it's like when people see Rob Santos, just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, just like The Rock, just like Dave Chappelle, just like Chris Rock, just like anybody who's been out there doing it forever, you know what you're gonna get when you go to one of my shows.
Yeah.
And when you go to Speakeasy, you're getting an experience. And that's what I'm trying to sell. So many of us, it's like, it's great to be a comedian, obviously writing, now you're a writer.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm an entertainer. It just so happens I can do stand-up.
What are the venues you did these shows at?
So one was at this place called, which is not too far from me, this place. Well, it was once called Blind Moose Studios. They turned it into, what was it? They turned it into this place called Slum House now. Okay. It's real dope. We even made a stage. Actually, Ray Kosker made a stage.
That's in Hartford or?
It's in Bloomfield.
Oh, it's in Bloomfield. Okay. Yeah.
And then the other one I did in this place, it's this place in Madison, Connecticut. It's a dope-ass spot. It's called the Crescendo Lounge. It was, you got to just like, look, Madison, Connecticut, Clinton, Connecticut, that whole area there. I'm like this black dude, or this beige guy rather, coming all the way from Hartford, entertaining a bunch of older white people. Okay. With a couple of mixed people, like, Spanish people mixed in because there's one young kid, right. Spanish kid, a rapper from Waterbury, he fucking murdered it. But they're loving the vibe. They're loving the vibe. I'm talking about like middle-aged and older white people, and they're loving it. So that was one spot, Ray Kosker's house. was another one. So Ray Kosker, tall white dude,
Right.
very very funny guy. He lives out in Farmington. We did it out in his space, and shit, I can't remember. There was one more, and I can't fucking remember where it was. But the other spot we did it at was also cool as hell. And every place that I've done it at, I've gotten different bands to be my house band.
Okay.
So I was working with like a jazz band. I was working with a hardcore rock band. The other one was like a mixture of soul and hip hop.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to broaden my horizons a little bit because one of my goals is eventually I would love to be able to do my show with a live orchestra.
Once you can figure out how to put like music hand in hand with comedy, it's like there's no, I feel like, better way to do it.
I mean, look at your music collection here, man. Your shit is like, it's amazing. And not to mention some of the other things you got hanging around here, it's amazing. Just like, you have a throwback, you have like an old soul to it,
Yeah.
I love it.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, and that's dope, man. And that's so, wouldn't that be awesome to take that style and bring it on to whatever it is that you're doing, whatever venture?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm doing. I'm doing that same thing. I'm taking like comedy and music. Like I feel like comedians and musicians are kindred spirits.
Oh hell yeah! As I got Cheech and Chong's basketball joke.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking dope.
I've read Tommy Chong's biography. He was talking about like that's how Cheech and Chong got started. They were a band.
Oh shit!
And they kind of just turned it into this like music sketch comedy show that they did, and then they went forward with that, like turned it to albums, everything.
And the funny thing is, man, you never know what the fuck is gonna happen. Like, in anything you do in life,
right?
You got your mindset on one thing. Like actually, I was talking to the gentleman. His name is Greg from the Blackboard Cafe over in Windsor Locks. He told me, he's like, Rob, whenever you're working on stuff, write it down, because even though you may not do it today, you never know. You might do it years from now. And I was like, whoa, that's some dope. Because I've always written shit down. But that's always...
That's really good advice, actually.
Totally. And what he did was it was great advice, and he reinforced something that I had forgotten about for years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I started going back, looking at some old things, and just really started coming to a whole different space with it. And Greg was just an awesome dude for it. And, I love going to that place, doing that mic. He's always been great to me. The staff is great. But he's built himself up since 2005 working in that space. And now it's 2019 and the thing is, he's also changed as he went along.
Right.
In the beginning, he was gearing towards young people. But then as they started getting clout and they started becoming a mainstay, then he started changing some things around. And then on top of that, some of the ideas that he had previously, he started incorporating into what he's doing now. Because he couldn't do it at that time. He had to stay alive. So he had to reach for a different demographic, and that's what he was telling me. And so when it comes down to this stuff, man, that's pretty much what it is for me too, man. Just reaching a certain demo, getting out there what I want to get out to eventually do what I really, really want to do. And I think now I'm actually getting to a point that I'm doing what I want to do. And the cool thing is, being in Hartford, there's really no precedent laid for anything, man. It's the Wild West out here, man. We could do whatever the fuck we want.
It's true.
As long as it's good.
It's true. It's weird. I feel like when I moved down to Florida, it's like the people.
Oh, that country you were in.
it's like the wild, wild west down there, like times 10. Where it's like,
man.
But when people want to be creative, they could get the ball, rolling with things immediately. And I'm like, it could be like that in Connecticut, but I feel like people are a little less inspired up here. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think the audiences are a little more dense in terms of like being receptive to supporting local comics, or local artists in general.
Or just things that are new in general.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why you got like, it's tough. Like I'm even experiencing that in a tough way because I had an opportunity to do something really great with my show that fell apart, but like. Now it's like, how do I pick up the pieces from all that? Because I thought I was going to do something really special. Mm-hmm. And because, that creativity that was in me, working with people that I thought could really help me benefit and be like a joint thing, it turned into something where I felt like I was being used. And
really?
Oh, yeah, man. Like, totally. It's hard to talk about it legally. Illegally, I can tell you so much shit off this thing. But legally, man, it's tough because it's like I had to do some dumbass public apology because of what happened was like I was trying to do something different. I was trying to do something for Hartford by Hartford, and then it got muddled up because of someone else's mindset, because they were investing in it in a way that I wasn't comfortable with. You know, and because of that.
Obviously, you can't say who this person is.
Right, exactly. And the thing about it is, I mean, it's already. I mean, you can go to New Britain, you know, the courts in New Britain, and you can read the transcript if you want to. Go, you can see who it is.
This sounds like a big mess, though, Rob.
It was a big fucking mess, dude.
But it's all taken care of now, right?
Yeah, I apparently, from what I signed a contract, and I didn't know it was a contract. That I can say, and because I didn't know it was a contract. That was their saving grace. But I ended up getting my intellectual property back, and that's all I wanted. And actually today I had to pay $100. So
isn't that all it comes down to? It's like, because I'm not familiar with the case, obviously. I only know what you've told me. But isn't it that always what it comes down to with a comedian? You just want your intellectual property back?
I tell you what, I mean this, and I'm saying this to you, and you should know this too, right in your book. Just because you have an idea doesn't make it yours. So if there's any comedian out there, especially coming up, just remember that whatever you say, it can be taken from. I had somebody take 5 to 10 minutes of my material in California, and this guy's been doing comedy 20, 30 years.
Right.
And when I talk to other people about it, they were like, "Oh, well, that's just what he does." I'm like, "Well, no one's gonna fucking say anything."
Right.
So
somebody that just straight up stole your material and used it on stage.
Straight up jacked it. Like some dude called me. I don't want to mention his name, but he called me up and said, "Yo, Rob, remember this joke you do here, 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 and here?" I was like, "Yeah, yo, you're killing in Pasadena, California right now." You know, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And I was mad, too, because he probably, like, and I say this, you know, joshingly, but he probably niggered my shit up. Because my shit isn't like, you know, motherfucker this and motherfucker that. My shit's got some, there's some thought to it.
Okay.
So to have that almost happen to me, I say almost because legally, almost happened to me a second time, I got a lot of PTSD from that shit, man. I'm not going to front. It was so bad that the person that did this to me, I thought that whenever I saw like someone that resembled them,
can we call this person out? Can you talk about this, or is this?
This person, the one that put me to court?
No, I thought this was a separate issue.
Oh no, it's a separate issue. The one who stole my jokes.
Can we call him out?
Oh, I don't even know. I forget.
You don't even remember his name.
I forgot his fucking name, dude. I forgot his name, like legit, and he's a known joke thief.
Okay.
Like I'm not even lying. Like I legitimately forgot his name. I can't even fucking think, like, for real, because that's how far gone it was. That's how much I had to remove that shit from my mind. But I've had my shit stolen from me many times, and I've created a lot of careers.
I remember when I first met you. Do you remember when we first met?
Oh, dude, you gotta enlighten me.
This was maybe like 5 years ago at the Funny Bone. It was an open mic at the Funny Bone.
Yes.
And you did, and I remember specifically you were doing your joke about the Statue of Liberty high on crack.
Oh yeah, now that one hasn't been snatched from me. I still actually do that joke. It was so funny. I hated that fucking bit too, man. I fucking hated that joke.
Because it's like one of those bits that you just kept doing, and then it's like it lost like its appeal to you. Like the audience still loved it, but it's like.
It definitely lost its appeal to me because I thought it was stupid. Because
you felt like you were pandering after a while. Right?
Yeah,
I have jokes like that myself. Yeah,
man. And when it works and it clicks, it's like, all right, well, shit, I gotta do it. My wife, I call her my wife person. We've been together like 17 years.
How long have you been doing comedy?
Damn, man, it'll be 10 years next week.
Damn. Well, happy 10-year anniversary. Hopefully, this podcast will be a nice. Gift for you for your 10th anniversary.
Listen, this is cool. I'm just happy anyone asked me to come in here and talk shit. For real, I'm all about trying to support, man. Because I've been through a lot, man, when it comes through, like, trying to... Because it gets to a point... The reason why you see what you see on social media with the website, it's because, and you understand this too, especially trying to sell a book, you know, you gotta... It gets to a point where the amateur meets the professional. You know, and the professional starts to come out, and then you got to look at yourself as a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm a business. I'm a dude first. Like if you, I wish I had my cards here. I didn't bring them with me, but
I wish you had your cards too. I would have put one on both right next to Eric Bearcats. He just gave me his.
Oh, I love Bear. Yeah. Love that, man. No, I'm gonna trust me. I'm gonna get one for you. I'm gonna toss it to you, because for me on my business card it says Rob Santos, father, comedian.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, being a father first is more important to me than anything.
Yeah.
And then after being an entrepreneur, that's the next step. And the thing is, in this business, and you probably can understand it too, like, you get fucked. You get fucked.
You do.
You have to get fucked. I don't give a fuck who you are. Anyone in this business that's doing this right now, anyone that's listening, no matter what you do, especially as an entertainer or anything that you want to do that you love, you're gonna get fucked. And the best thing
is even on a small scale. Like when you probably remember when you first started doing it, and they're like there'd be like people in New York asking you to do bringers, and it's like,
oh my god,
what a racket all these bringers are just such a friggin' racket for the club to make money and do not give you any grow. They're not making you grow as a comedian at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because a lot of them they're not name guys, so they got to do a lot of these guys, with all due respect, they do the bringer shows because, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm just sort of generalizing. Oh, excuse me, there's some good ass beer, by the way. I'm just generalizing. Some of them don't want to do real jobs,
right.
So they do this shit. They expose the comedian. I remember talking to some comics. I always say, fucking around, I've never seen a black bringer show. Never.
You know what? I like the sound of that because I've never seen a black bringer show either.
Black people, black shows, black rooms, whatever you want to fucking call them, urban rooms, they'll be out to pay you more so than the white shows. Okay. And I don't mean to bring race or racism in it. It's just what I've noticed and what I've been through.
I can dig it.
Yeah, and then the thing is, it's like people go into those rooms and they're fucking scared of those audiences, but they will treat you right. If you go and do a show in a black room and you're killing it, then you're fucking you're.
Well, I gotta tell you this real quick. I just did Melissa Elmore's open mic for the first time the other night. Have you done her open mic at the Kabbalah House?
The one on Albany Ave? No.
It's funny because it's obviously almost completely black room. I think I was the only white person there the whole time. Mm-hmm. But I came from Barganeer's open mic. All these comics, all white comics said, "Oh, we're going to do this. Then we're going to go to the Kabbalah House."
Yeah.
I'm the only one that shows up at the Kabbalah House.
Oh, I'm not going to front. Some of them were kind of scared, man, for real.
You know what? It's like, I don't even know if it's scared, but also flaky. Like, how you going to say you're going to go do something, but you're not?
A little bit of both.
But at the same time, I think if white comics had more confidence just to get on stage and talk in front of black people, like, honestly, black audiences, I feel like they enjoy that shit. They enjoy the confidence. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. I tell you what, there's anyone, the greatest white comedian I've ever seen perform in front of black rooms, Tim Lucas. I've watched him die a horrible death.
Right.
And I've watched him crush. I'm talking about like fan favorite, loved him. Everything he said. People that think like, oh, yeah, Tim Lucas has corny ass jokes. No. The jokes that people think are corny, boom, next level shit. And they like him because he's fucking confident.
Right.
And he doesn't give a fuck. And he goes through it. So I've watched him crush, and I've watched him die in black rooms. And I tell you what, both of them have been tremendous experiences. I love that guy.
Well, something else? My fiance is Jamaican, and a lot of the stuff that I was able to say at the Kabbalah House were stuff that I don't even think white people would find funny.
Right?
Like, I can't do if it's a whole white audience. No one wants to hear about my Jamaican fiance throwing a shoe at me.
Dude, that's fucking dope. That's unique to you though. But you gotta do it. You look, man, you have to do it. Look, it gets to a point like there's one dude, Nicky Pockets, funny ass dude.
Right.
People, he reminds me a lot of Mitch Hedberg-ish, right?
Okay.
Thing about Nicky is though he's having a kid now.
Right.
And I told him this yesterday over at the Blackboard Cafe. We did the mic. I told him, I was like, yo, look. Now you're having a kid. Your life has changed. That means your material is going to change. Your style is going to change possibly. But your temperament and your overall, I would say, ability and just like scope is going to change. Because now you're having a kid. It's like you have to write those thoughts down. And you have to make them interesting. Don't even try to be funny, man. Just be interesting. People, I remember 10 years ago when I first started, I told my mother, I was like, look, Ma, I was in New York when I had first started, and I told her, look, I don't want to be funny anymore. I want to be interesting. She's like, well, says the comedian. I was like, well, she's like, well, why? Because if I'm interesting, then people are going to pay attention to me.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Well, it's something I've had conversations with other on this podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's more important? Is it being funny or being transcendent, where like people remember what you were talking about and like having an effect on that person?
Well, quintessential in that aspect, because now if anyone else talks about the Statue of Liberty or talks about their hair, you're going to immediately think of me. You think of Hot Pockets, who do you think of?
Jim Gaffigan.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You think of like a baby selling crack in the projects. You think of Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's these things where like you have these quintessential jokes. And the one thing that drives me crazy is, and this is not trying to like talk shit about anybody, is that a lot of guys will throw away material that they've been doing for like a long time and make CDs and recordings over it, but yet move on to some new shit, but no one knows you. So why are you moving on to new shit? You know, continue working at the shit you got now, put yourself on, so when a large contingent of people see it, then you can put it to sleep. So many guys out here that are just trying to like, you know, put themselves in that category, and they're not even there yet. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna keep rocking my shit out no matter what. Like when I see young comedians, the one thing I can't stand that young comics say is, oh man, I try to come do new shows to keep it fresh. It's like, man, fuck that. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. If you're trying to keep shit fresh, that means you're trying to placate the audience, or you're trying to placate the fucking people that are watching you, like the other comedians. It's like, if you're there to do comedy for other comedians, then stop doing comedy. Hands down. You know what I'm saying?
I can dig that.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's just like, yo, do you. Find ways to incorporate your stuff. If you got to put the joke to the side for a little bit, then put it to the side. But when it comes showtime, yo, you bring that bitch back out and you rock out.
Right.
I see too many comedians out here that just, they get up there and they're doing shows, they're doing the sets for other comics. They're doing it for the back of the room. It's like, yo, I don't want to book you if you're doing shows, if you're doing sets for the back of the room.
Right.
Because I have an image, I have a reputation. If I'm gonna ask you to do a show for me, and you want to go ahead and try a new joke or some stupid ass fucking rape joke or molestation joke or whatever joke that you know doesn't work yet, just so you can do it in front of a big audience, and you know it's not there yet, then I'm never going to ask you to do another set for me again.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how all this shit works out, man. It really, really is. But I don't know, man. It's out here. It's tough. It really is. Being a comedian is tough in general. It's almost fucking stupid, to be honest.
You know, I normally write a comedy sketch for the guest and me to read, but today I was just like, nah, I think we figure we just riff it. We just bullshit.
Oh.
Because, you know, it's like we hardly ever see each other. And, I thought we'd just have a nice conversation. You know,
I didn't know you were up here. I thought I was going to do this remotely. Like, legit. I thought I was going to do this
like
on Skype or some shit. Like, for real. I had no fucking clue. And I was like, wait a minute, where are we doing this shit at? And you said at my house. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea you were up here, because the last time I saw you...
was at Comics.
Right. Were you traveling at that time?
I was. And I was actually only here for about a week at the time. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, for, you know, like Christmas vacation. Yeah.
See, so I thought at that time... I thought you were gone. And yeah, I know, like for me, like yesterday I called out of work because I wanted to watch The Masters.
The Masters?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're getting old.
Listen, I'm 36, man. I'm an old. I got a 7-year-old.
Oh my god, to watch The Masters,
dude. I love. Slow
That's like calling out of work to watch the paint dry.
Yo, it was some great ass paint, man. It was some Tiger Woods paint. No, I'll tell you why. Because you know what? You ever heard of like those, what was it, those image boards or some shit like that, where people like those, I guess like people make these boards, like similar to what you have here, right?
Right.
But what they do is they put these boards up of things that they want in life.
Dream board.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I've gotten to a point where I've like realized
you got one of those?
Well, I got it in my head.
Okay.
Or Pinterest.
Yeah.
Being real.
Well, I photoshopped one time on Facebook me on stage, like as the host of Saturday Night Live, and that was like the only. To me, that was like the best thing I could do for a dream board.
Yo, do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You got it. Look, my buddy sent me something about Dick Gregory. He said something. Dick Gregory said like, "Oh, I want to go to Paris, but I can't because I don't have enough money." And then he said, "You just told your mind and your body that you can't do that now." So now you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
Because you just told your cells in your body, in your mind, that you'll never achieve that.
Yeah.
And that right there is like you already are defeated.
Yeah.
So now for me, it's like I watch someone like Tiger Woods, who I've been watching since I actually started watching Tiger, like really getting into him.
Is it the comeback, man?
The comeback.
It's the comeback.
It's the comeback.
I got you.
Man.
No, I
it's
understand.
Comeback, man.
No, it's more about Tiger Woods than it is just because you're a fan of golf in general.
But then I started getting into it though.
Right.
But will I watch a Sunday without him being in contention? Fuck no. Hell no. You know?
Right.
But watching him win for me was like, I've been watching him. It's been like a 10-year struggle with him, and I enjoy that. So now that he's won, I'm still going to continue to watch him because I actually adore the sport. But at the same time, you see what he's been through, and I find that to be so fucking amazing because everyone wrote him off. I mean, like, so many people wrote him off. Between the personal things, the injuries, the mental aspect coming up from it, the arrest, when he had his pills with him and shit. You know, there were so many people just quickly willing to just say, yo, fuck him, he's never going to do anything. And for him to win that green jacket yesterday, to me, was a tremendous
It's kind of like separate. I feel like watching sports is a lot like a comedy, where it's like you got to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, man.
Or it's like you got to separate an athlete's personal life with what they do in their field. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah. And I had to learn. I'm struggling with that now, even as a comic, because there's one dude, and I won't mention his name because he'll get mad if I don't give a fuck if he gets mad or not.
Yeah.
But I personally don't like how everyone's still sort of flocking around this dude after the things that he's done to other women. And for me, it's like I have a 7-year-old little girl.
Right.
If he would did that shit to my little girl, I'd fucking murder him. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to see all these other male comics sort of, you know,
wait, hold on. Is this something a comic did to a little girl, or is
no?
it
Forgive me. No, to give it context.
Are we talking about Louis C.K. or
nah? Well, I want to say to that extent, but what he has done is he has done something in respect to make other female comedians uncomfortable.
Okay.
And he has done some things where he's overstepped his bounds, and he hasn't really ameliorated himself from it.
Right.
For it, rather, or even, and he had like some stupid ass makeshift apology that made him look bad. I don't want to say his name, but I'll tell you his name off. All
right, we'll wait till after the podcast.
But the thing is, and this guy's also said things to me that I didn't like, and I had to check him on stage once. And the only reason why I didn't hit him was because of the fact that I had more to lose than him.
Yes.
Now, when it comes down to it, it's like I don't like how other male comedians are cool with this guy. Because he's never really apologized for what he's done. He's never really tried to make up for it. And for me, that means everything. So as a father of a 7-year-old little girl who's funny as hell.
Well, would I know who you were talking? Do you think I would know who you're talking
you
about?
will. You will once I say the name. But I don't want to say the name because I don't want to put him down.
That's fine.
But to go into the point of what it is about the difference, he's a funny dude.
Right.
But that's not the whole thing for me, you know. But I will be professional around him. I made some mistakes by letting my personal feelings get in the way of my professional feelings.
Yes.
You know? And I was like, look, man.
Who hasn't done that, though?
Right.
And especially comedians.
Exactly.
I think,
And I had to tell him, like, look, don't let me be the one that fucking put you down, all right? I may not like you. You know that. I know that. We can live life. But I'm not going to bring you up and talk shit about you before I bring you up because that's not my job. I probably won't work with you if I'm on a show with you, only because of just how I feel about the situation and because I don't want to bring somebody up that I don't feel comfortable with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. But I had to do my job in that particular moment. So I can separate the man from the art.
Well, I think it's difficult with a situation like that because as a comedian or someone who's sharing the stage with somebody else, it's almost like comedians are the ones that are supposed to be like bringing the party to the audience.
Right.
And if you're not doing that, and it's like you're in a situation where it's like,
can I get another one of those beers?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
These beers are good.
Of course.
I'm sorry to interrupt your thought, but these beers are really fucking good. But like you were saying.
Yeah, we're drinking Let's Fly Away from the Connecticut Valley Brewing Company.
Yo.
So if you guys want to send me and Rob Santos some free ones, we would love that. That's
fucking dope.
It's good. It's good beer, and it's named after a good Sinatra song too.
Oh shit.
So what was I saying? We're like the ones that bring the party, and it's like if you're like in a situation where you got like all these negative thoughts and shit, it's like how can you bring the party? It's like audiences are smart. They can, as much as people talk, people talk about audiences where it's like you gotta like not be as intellectual. It's like they can see right through you.
Yeah, totally. And I'm in full disclosure. This individual is sick,
right?
And I don't mean like sick human being. I mean like sick where it's like, man, he's got issues.
Right.
And we can't put him down for it.
Right.
We have to help him. He's made some mistakes, as egregious as they are. But it comes to a point where you have to be responsible for your actions. Mm-hmm. And I felt this particular individual wasn't. So when I break it down, I live with borderline personality disorder. People don't give a fuck about what I live because I'm not fucking Kate Beckinsale. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I say that because the particular person that is fucking Kate Beckinsale is a friend of mine. I haven't talked to him in years. Right. You know what I'm saying? But he's a friend of mine, and we came up together.
What do you mean, Rob? What do you mean you got a personality disorder?
So what I live with is so with a borderline personality disorder, it's like it's like my identity is sort of skewed. I have no real self-image. I am really down on myself.
Are you kidding, man? I think you got a better self-image than most people. It's like, honestly, like, I feel like you are one of the few comics I would recognize in silhouette. You know what I mean?
Like, where it's like,
yes. Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't know, the hair, the glasses, just your body language in general is like uniquely Rob Santos.
Thank you.
But, I mean, that's just one man's opinion.
You know what? I'll tell you, man, that means everything to me. And thank you. But there's moments where I live with intense rage and intense fear and sadness.
Okay.
And when I don't feel those two aspects of emotion, I don't want to say I'm dead inside. It's this thing called disassociation.
Okay.
It's almost like a bird's eye view of things where you just don't feel anything and you feel like you're an out of body experience. You ever had an out of body experience?
Oh yeah.
That's what it's like for me all the time. Unless I'm enraged. And when I get enraged, I get so fucking angry. And I'll go at anybody just off a general principle.
Right.
And I had to learn the hard way not to do that. So I may be cool and comfortable in my element as a comic and being in that environment because I can, in that particular moment, I see myself as the comedian. But there was sometimes I see myself as the father. But there's also been moments where I've been the cheating guy. And I've been that, you know what I'm saying, that piece of shit.
Okay.
Searching for love because I didn't get it when I was younger.
Okay.
So that trauma that's been built up has allowed me to make a lot of those shitty mistakes. And I'm starting to talk about it more on stage. Like one of the jokes I got is like, look, honey, like it wasn't me who cheated on you. I mean, it was me, but it wasn't me. It was the disease.
Okay.
Just like, but using that over and over again, it's like, it's the disease, honey, it's the disease, woman. So using that as a callback. So I'm working on that now. And that's me.
Right.
I am a father. I am a comedian. I am a good dude. But I'm also a piece of shit, depressed, angry, spiteful. I'm all these other things too. So which one is it, Rob? Which one is it?
But there's a yin and a yang, Rob. Nobody's perfect. Like it's like you can't put all your positive attributes in one basket and all your negative attributes in another basket and be like, well, I'm this guy one day and I'm that guy the other day. No, you're just Rob Santos like every fucking day.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
And that's where you're correct. And where the borderline kicks in is like, well, my mind doesn't know which one it is.
Okay.
So my mind starts to play tricks on me because of trauma.
Okay.
That I've experienced over time. Look, I'm 36. About a year ago, I just been comfortable with my blackness.
Okay.
So all my life, I was told I wasn't black enough by everybody. It doesn't matter who it was.
Well, are you? Forgive me for asking if you don't have it. But what ethnicity are you? Completely black? What are you?
So if you're like race wise, I'm black, and ethnicity wise, I'm Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And so I'm both of those things. But at the same time, it's like I've always been in the middle.
Right.
So now I'm at a space right now where I'm comfortable with my blackness. I'm comfortable with being Spanish. Like I'm comfortable with myself, knowing that, like you said, the yin and the yangs.
Well, I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse coming out probably helped with that too, right?
You know what? I gotta see that movie. I'll be fucking real with you, not to get because we've been getting heavy. I refuse to watch that movie.
Really? Why?
Yeah,
Why? All right, now I gotta know this. Why?
Because I'm tired of look. If there's anyone out there within your speaker, you know that Spider-Man is the most beloved character ever.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Any like, okay, what you got? Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Okay, I dig it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me anyone that's better than those three, off the top of your head.
What you said?
Like anyone. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man.
Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Is any superhero better? Probably not. Probably those three are where you're.
The Holy Trinity. That's what I call them, the Holy Trinity. Doesn't matter which one is where.
Okay, because you would definitely put Spider-Man at the top of Marvel and the other two at the top of
exactly.
DC. Okay.
And why did everyone love Spider-Man? Because he was young, and we've all been there, teenage angst.
Yes, it's. I think he has the as opposed to Superman and Batman, which are like demigods. Spider-Man is the everyman, where it's like he works 2 jobs. He struggles with his relationship. He has to balance all these things to make him who he is, which is like a normal person. Yes.
Right, and you love that, right? Yes. And you want to be him.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So why fuck that up with a bunch of other spider people?
Oh, okay. All right. So
I can't deal with that.
I think this is what you have to like understand when you're going into the movie. Are you familiar with the multiple, or what is it called? The multiverse theory?
Of course.
Where it's like every reality is that's my fiance waving at us through the curtain. She's already gone. It's okay. Every reality is any decision reality is all happening simultaneously in parallel universes.
Right.
So where it's like the way they decided it in this movie, right, is like in every universe there's a different Spider-Man.
Yes.
Where it's like, but it's like you have the original Peter Parker in there,
yes,
but you also have all these other Spider-Man, which are based on older Spider-Man comics. I don't know if you saw the commercial, the preview of the movie with Spider-Ham.
Yep.
That's an old comic book. That's like from the 90s. I had that Spider-Ham comic book.
And I remember. Trust me, I remember.
So,
but that doesn't mean I have to fucking like it.
But I don't know. I think that's it's a good take on it. It's not like
but I respect it.
It's not the original take.
No,
obviously
exactly
not.
Yeah, because it drives me. Like, look, I'm playing. Okay, so I'm playing. I bought the Spider-Man game for PS4.
Right.
So Miles just got bit by the spider. I'm done. I don't play it no more because I don't want to see him as Spider-Man. There's only one Spider-Man, and it's Peter fucking Parker. But at the same time,
right,
I get his popularity. I get how good the movie is,
but it's so crazy how it's so popular, and yet I'm talking to a guy who can kind of identify with he's black, he's Spanish, and that can't be Spider-Man.
No, not at all. I have dreams about being Spider-Man like once a week.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, man. I'm dead fucking serious. Look. I find myself going to other rooms and just pretending to like flip onto walls and shit because that's how much I love him. So for me, it's the kid in me that's unwilling to give that up. I think it
goes along. I think the movie, I feel like the whole overall message of the movie goes along with the things that Stan Lee was trying to teach people. Like the whole reason he made Spider-Man's costume completely, covering the body, is so people could imagine themselves in the costume, and so anybody could imagine themselves in the costume, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether whether you're anything, you can imagine yourself in that suit, and that's kind of like what they were going for in the movie.
See, and I'm gonna go, and I'm probably gonna watch it now,
and you're probably gonna like it too.
I might, out of protest, and I'll be real, man. Like, look. My attention span is shit.
Right.
So I might fast forward through some shit, but I will watch it.
Don't.
No, I won't. I watched, my daughter and my girlfriend watched it.
Right. And they liked it.
And they liked it. Brooklyn, actually, my daughter's name is Brooklyn. She didn't like it because she didn't like watching Spider-Man die.
But I think this is the other thing that you gotta look at in the movie, where it's like, it's not the Spider-Man that died. It's just a Spider-Man that died.
I can't take
watching the movie. You're never really sure which one's the real Spider-Man.
But I can't take that mentally and emotionally. I will say this though: the biggest draw for that movie is Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, as Spider Noir.
Right.
Because I heard he's a scene stealer. He's a scene stealer.
Yeah.
So John Mulaney, he's all right. You know what I mean? But I will watch it because I love Nick Cage. He's a fucking train wreck, and I love that man.
But I think also it was I feel like, also I feel like it's a slap in the face to all those people that were. When Donald Glover, was offered the role of Spider-Man, and then it's like just because of all the social media backlash, like, oh, a black dude couldn't be Spider-Man, blah blah blah, and then this movie comes out where a black dude is Spider-Man,
totally,
and it's the only superhero movie to go ahead and win an Oscar.
Yeah, and I think that's dope, and to me that's tremendous. That's amazing. But the little boy in me. Fuck that. Look, I'm all for everything coming together.
But I don't know. Hold on. This actually, I feel like the reason you don't want to watch it, it actually goes down like a deep psychological thing that my girlfriend and I, or my fiance and I, have talked about, where she showed me this video of these children, right? And they're basically like, they're put in front of a camera, and it's like this psychological test.
Oh,
it's a black baby doll, it's a white baby doll. And whether the kid looking at the dolls was black or white, they go, which one's the good baby? They point to the white baby.
Oh, yeah.
Which one's the bad baby? And they point to the black baby doll. Yeah. And it is so upsetting watching.
It is, man. It is. I think that was that Soledad O'Brien joint. I remember watching that a while back. For me, it's like, I don't know. It's hard. Like, look, I grew up playing the Spider-Man video games.
Right.
I grew up watching the original Spider-Man cartoon. Not the original, like in the 60s. I'm talking about the one from the 90s.
90s, yes. Yeah, I love it. But and this is the kicker for me. You should want to see the movie more than anybody, being the 90s fan. Yeah. Because they did a whole multi-universe thing in the 90s cartoon.
I remember. Look, they did another one back in the I would say like 2000 something, like with what's the guy from Drake and Josh,
Drake or Josh?
No, Drake and I forget which one it was, but they did that game, and he one of the guys was the voiceover for it, and he was great.
Right.
And then they remade it and made a new one, and now I'm probably going to end up watching it now. Look, I still watch the cartoons, like the Avengers with Black Panther. I watch that. I watch a lot of this stuff. My daughter has got me back into it, because my daughter, I think her favorite character is it's a cross between Spider-Man, Captain America,
right,
and Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
So she likes all three of those characters, but she loves Batman more than Superman. So my daughter's 7, and like her pajamas, she got Spider-Man pajamas, she got Black Panther pajamas. She had Iron Man, but she grew out of those.
Okay.
She had Captain America, grew out of those too. So my daughter's a fucking nerd.
So she's a whole superhero. Junkie, basically.
She loves it, but she also loves My Little Pony, Barbie, all this princess shit. So it's like my daughter is into everything, and I encourage it. So she's got me into it. Like,
hold on, I want to give you this as a gift.
What's this?
Either hold on to it, or give it to your daughter when she gets a little bit older.
Oh, Kevin Smith wrote this?
That's a Kevin Smith Batman comic, and that's the only Batman comic I've ever read where Batman somehow gets high on weed.
Get out of here, word.
She's Poison Ivy is Poison Ivy somehow takes over Arkham Asylum, and he goes in there, and it's like there's somehow these marijuana plants get him high.
I mean, shit, wasn't she always fucking high? Look, I played all the Batman games for the PlayStation. I bought my daughter. I bought her the one of the latest Spider-Man joints,
right?
And I brought her. What did I buy her? I forgot. It was another comic that it was Spider-Man. What the fuck was it? And I was reading with her. She brought it to school. Actually, Adam Parisi. Do you know who he is?
No.
Adam Parisi is a magician, great fucking guy. Adam, if you're listening to us, I love you, homie. He bought, because I have this joke about my daughter saying, like, she tells me, like, Daddy, I want to be a superhero princess. I was like, well, honey, don't you want to be a superhero and a princess? She's like, no, Daddy, I want to be a superhero princess. together. I'm like, well, why? And she said to me, and I'm not lying, so I can save myself, Daddy. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. So Adam Parisi bought me a comic book that my daughter and I have read, and she's brought with her to school, about the princess who saved herself. And she fucking loved it.
I dig that because the princess is always the damsel in distress, and if you're a superhero princess, you're the one saving yourself. Almost like Princess Leia in a way.
Exactly.
I like that. Like
and
strong female characters are important.
Right. So, and for me, growing up, like people used to say, like this whole Me Too shit, like it's kind of fizzled out a little bit. I mentally and psychologically could not understand that concept. Not because I couldn't understand women being shitted on. I get that. I know that exists.
Right.
But I grew up around nothing but your woman, your wife is your fiance is Jamaican.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try to say some shit around her. She'll fucking kill
hell
you.
no, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I grew up
like I said, she hits me with a shoe.
Exactly, right? I grew up around strong black women my whole life.
Right.
Look, I'll tell you a story. So, and I'm actually trying to figure out how to use this in a joke. So one of my cousins was going through some real tough domestic stuff.
Okay.
So my aunts, my mom, and my grandmother showed up at the house to confront this guy. So my mom and my aunts get there. But before they get there, my grandmother, all 60 some odd years of her, maybe early 70s of her, was standing outside of the apartment where her trunk open, smoking a cigarette. Now, if you don't know what it means to have your trunk open,
yeah, pop the trunk on him. I know that's. I'm not too white to know what
I'm glad you're not. So there's this woman in her late 60s, early 70s, smoking a cigarette with her trunk open.
Right.
Now, that's the woman I looked up to, and that's the woman who's my grandmother. I'm afraid of that woman.
You know what it is? I think this is why you don't understand the Me Too movement, is because you grew up in a matriarch household where it's like the women rule. So how could it be any other way? Right. You know what I mean?
But I also understand that exists. I will never ever refute that. I get that. I totally understand and get that. It's just that I grew up around so much strong estrogen in my life that I would never question my grandmother, who's in her mid-70s now, who had her trunk open. So I know she has a fucking pistol.
So it's almost like you view estrogen as stronger than testosterone.
Hell yeah. There's no way fucking hell that I would fucking go against a woman like, especially a black woman. Yo, the funniest thing in the world is like, the most entertaining thing to me is watching an angry black woman at a department store trying to return something, and the white person that's with them doesn't. It's so entertaining because watching that connection.
Yes.
It's so skewed, and it doesn't necessarily, and they can't connect because one person is so strong and the other person has a little bit of higher status because they work at this particular store.
Right. So it's their store, it's their establishment. So.
Exactly, but yet they're still afraid because this black woman is coming at them with a level of, I don't want to say rage.
It's not even threatening. It's just intense.
Exactly. And that intensity, they can't match it. But what they have over this black woman is the fact that, well, this is my spot, or this is where I work. I can sort of put the rules on whatever I want. Yeah, exactly. So without these rules, would white people be in power? And that's where I go deep into it. That's the next step for me. If we didn't have those rules that help, I would say those rules and that system to help empower white people, would white people really be in power? That to me is the most interesting thing. And I think about that a lot. And that's where I'm at with my work.
Well, I think you're definitely right about that. I mean, who wrote the rules? It's white people, right?
Right. But at the same time, I also understand too, and this goes for anybody. It goes for you, goes for anybody, even with comedians. When I try to tell other comedians that, like one of the comedians, I won't mention his name, but says some shit along the lines of, we need to be nice to each other. I'm like, yo, that's bullshit. Because saying we need to be nice to each other is like a child or a parent saying to a couple children who are fighting with each other, hey, you two be nice to each other.
Right.
They're not trying to understand and assess the situation. They're just saying being nice to each other because they don't want to deal with it. because the system that's in place is for the parents to be in power and govern the children.
So being nice to what you're saying is being nice to each other doesn't fix anything.
Not at all.
Okay.
And I tried to confront this person and mention to him, and they just deleted my posts on Facebook, which I thought was bullshit and also weak. But despite that, it's just like, but it's true. But if you were to sit there and try to figure out, well, what's this person saying, and what's the other, what's this child saying, what's the other child saying, so you can further assess the situation, so you can actually solve it. We're in situations now where people in power, especially white people in Connecticut for sure, they expose the other comedians. I have the same comedian will say some shit. Oh, I had 3 black guys on my show, so you're counting us? He thinks just because you have 3 black people on your show that all of a sudden he's solving racism. It's like, no, you're not. We're just numbers. And they can't understand that. Just like you saying, I can't understand the Me Too movement.
Right.
They can't understand that aspect of race, right? So my point is through all of this, it's like, well, how do we take this level of empowerment and give it to one another so that we can rise up together? That to me is the toughest part.
I think things like this, like a podcast we're doing right now, just like having conversations. I think that helps. I feel like social media does more damage than it does good. I feel like, and it's something that it's like even I have a problem with, where it's like I feel like me and like every other person out there, people gotta stop talking out of the side of their mouth on Facebook. And it's like, if you're going to say something online, you better be direct, because you don't want to have to take back the shit you're saying later.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
And living with borderline, for me, it's like if somebody says something to me out of the side of their mouth, I immediately confront them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I'm not going to have this shit. But then I have to be very mindful of it, because if I come out stronger and higher than that other person, then it's tough. Like, okay, for instance, so I started doing comedy very, very young in Connecticut. I would say, man, like I was 12 years old.
Where are you from originally?
New Britain.
New Britain, okay.
So I started doing comedy about 12, 13 years old in middle school.
Really?
Yeah, man. One of the first shows I did was like at my middle school for this group called Room Service. And I hosted the show. And they liked me a lot that they gave me their beeper number. That's how old it is. They gave me a beeper number. I called that beeper number every single day. And they never called me back. And I actually met the guy who gave me the beeper number.
Right.
And I told him how much of a piece of shit he was for that. Because he crushed me. So I was already broken from age 12, 13 years old about this business.
Right.
So I tried to get into different places like, City Steam, things like that at 14, 15, 16 years old. Didn't happen. So as it was going along, right, so on and so forth, I said, fuck it, move to New York. Because, like, how am I supposed to get anywhere out here? There was nothing for me to do here. There was like a Jitters Club in fucking Southington.
Right.
So I went to New York. I did this comedy school, which was great. I learned a lot from it. And then once I got out of comedy school in 2009, I just started hitting the mics. And then 2009 to 2010, I like to say 2010. 2010, I was working my way up.
Right.
But then 2011 is when I started, like, really, my mind started drifting. I started, like, the trauma and the bullshit that existed started coming to me. And I moved here in late 2011. And then when I started getting out here in 2012, I was hitting every spot. And I was making headway.
Right.
And then other comedians, like other white comics, were saying shit like, oh, you talk too much about race. I was like, so? But they did that to put me down. They didn't realize that they were doing it. And I let it affect me, too, because so many white comedians were putting me down. And I come to realize they were putting me down because they were afraid of me. Because I was getting so much play so fast. Like, who's this new guy on the scene that's really funny, really good? Why is he getting so much play? So they did this shit to, like, put me down. I mean, I could mention names to you, but I won't. You know what I'm saying? And there's these same people that still exist that won't even look at me the same way now because I'm confident now. See, that's where the borderline kicked in. Coming in, people telling me I'm not good enough. Or they're saying, oh, yeah, Rob, you're funny, but you do this. And that played into my mindset. So I couldn't really push ahead because I always cut myself down because I'm so used to like, oh, Rob, you're good, but my whole life. And so when I came from New York to Connecticut, that's what happened. And because, I hate to say this, but the individuals who were white were saying that because they were empowered with the opportunities that they were getting because they were funny. You know, so they got opportunities better than I did because the system is built for them to succeed. Does that mean that they're bad people? No. It just means that there's a system that's built for them to succeed. That's okay to an extent. They just benefit from it. But when you call them on it, they don't know how to handle it. And that's what happened when I called this particular gentleman out on it. And he's a guy out here who's a mainstay.
Right.
But I called him on it and he couldn't handle it. And if we were trying to have a conversation right now, he would probably tell me to my face, like, oh, Rob, you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, shut up. You don't know what it means to be a black person. So we're caught up in a space where the system is built for white individuals to continue to succeed and for black individuals to only get so far. The coolest shit now
is... It's just like that Chris Rock bit where he's talking about... how like what was it, Rihanna and who live on the same street, and then it's like and then they all live next to a dentist.
Oh my god!
And he's like, he's not the best dentist in the world.
No, like, if a black man was to get to what he would have to make teeth. You know what I'm saying? And that's
yes.
and that's the thing. Now, this individual who's spoken out or been this way, he's not a bad guy to an extent. You know, I feel like he still hasn't ameliorated himself in certain aspects like he should have. But he's speaking from a place of privilege. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's almost okay to an extent because I just don't fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? But someone like yourself who gets it because
that's why I don't. He's just like somebody speaking with a. But how does that differ from me? How do you? Am I speaking from a guy with a place of privilege?
You can't because if you try to, you get hit with a shoe.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean? Because the thing is, you'll get checked.
All right.
But the thing is, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it. Like I get these things. Like me saying these things, I'm not trying to like, yo, the white man sucks. No, that's not what it is. It's all about how can we get on the same playing field.
Yeah, hell yeah. How can we rewrite those rules, if you will?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's just like it begins with all men were created equal, and it's not. We weren't created equal.
Exactly like that Chappelle joke. It's like all men created equal. Nigga, get me a sandwich before I fucking kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. You know, but I question it. I talk about it. Some people are afraid to admit it, speak about it. That's called white fragility to a certain extent. I'm reading.
I actually never even heard of that one. What is it? White fragility? What did you say?
White fragility is essentially a term that's actually coined now. It's actually in Webster's dictionary now, where white people are afraid to talk about race.
Really?
Yes.
That's not me though. I've never been afraid to talk about
honestly, race. You are you're an intelligent dude, but you also listen very well. And you're also very discerning about how you speak to other people. This is just me, from when I met you, from the beginning. You were never one to ruffle feathers as far as like, all right, I'm going to be a dick to someone. That's not you. That's not how you roll. And now you have a fiance who's a person of color. Now you have a deeper understanding of it because you're with somebody who deals with that struggle.
So it's weird though, being in a relationship with a person of color, mm-hmm. and my fiance specifically. I feel like I know less and less about race every day.
But you know what though? You know what the cool shit is about you? I'm only going this. It's just me being I'm just like putting it out there. It's like, well, this is an issue that some white men with power or who have been told that they're great or have been getting opportunity after opportunity, you probably don't come off as if you know every fucking thing. That's the problem. The problem isn't the advantages they get. The problem is that they feel like they fucking know everything.
Yeah.
And that's why they fuck with women, shit on minorities, and allow themselves to feel like they're top dog. When in all actuality, with all due respect to white people, they're fucking basic. And they use us to get built to another level. You know what I'm saying? So that's my assessment. I can still love a white person. Because I do. You know what I'm saying? But also, you probably understand this too. 36 years old. My circle is so small. That's not even a circle. It's a triangle. It's me, my girl, and my kid.
Right.
That's it. I go home. I go to them. There are they are my rocks. My mom, I love her. My family, you know. I mean, then okay, I have a square now. It's not a circle; it's a square.
Yeah.
My girl, my kid, my family. You know, and it goes like that. And as you get older, you tend to find different ways to just say, "Hey, look, people are who they are. You respect them. I love for them. As long as they don't disrespect you, then you're fine."
I think that's a good note to end on. But before we do end, I want if there's anything you want to promote, I'd like you to do that now.
Oh my God, what do I have to fucking promote? I don't
Anything coming up?
No, I said no. Okay, so April 26th, I'm at Slum House in Bloomfield, Connecticut. May 22nd, I'm doing a show with Jordan Wirame. I always fuck his name up. Forgive me, Jordan. You're my man. I love you. May 22nd, it's going to be at the at. Is it May 22nd? I gotta check my fucking website. It's going to be at CTM.
Well, just give the audience your website, and then they can check out exactly where you'll be.
Go to robsantoscomedy.com. Also, if you want to check me out, I have a TV show. Not a TV. Well, it's a web show that's called
web series.
Yeah, web series called Toilet Time with Rob Santos.
Are you actually on the toilet?
Yes.
Okay.
The whole concept of the show is me talking shit while I'm on the shitter. I actually shot a pilot for it for one of the local TV networks out here because they still like me because of my TV show that I was working on with them. So check me out there. Listen, just go to robsantoscomedy.com. I have gear there that I sell, and I have all my show listings that I'm going to be doing, and also a lot of other things as well. So check me out, robsantoscomedy.com.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show, Rob.
Oh, listen,
if you want to catch Rob Santos, guys, you can either catch him on stage or on the toilet. Thank you for listening.